Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Smith's Kitchen, Brian Kitchen, as always. And this morning, we're gonna do some baking, but we're gonna do some easy baking. We're about to do a Andes mint brownie, but it doesn't just have Andes mints in it. It's got mint, the Oreo mints in it, Mint Oreo cookies in it, and a brownie mix. Now, there's a couple ways to go about this, but I'm going to do it the way the recipe was written. My friend Rob sent this to me, like I said yesterday, if you caught the dinner video, to give it a try. He wants to make it here, in a few days, and wants to, I don't know what he's doing with it. I don't know if he's taking it to a party, just serving it to his family, or he just wants to eat a whole thing of brownies. But he really wants our opinion and my opinion and everybody else's opinion and thoughts on these brownies. And at first I was like, why don't you do a homemade brownies and all kinds of, and I thought, no, the recipe calls for a box mix, which is fine. And here's why it's fine. In this case, this would be a good thing for, if you have young kids and you want to get them into cooking, which you should, cooking and baking. It's a skill set that they'll need just for everyday life, and can keep them healthy, and in some ways, maybe not with box mix brownies, but down the road to help them learn how to cook for themselves and be a little more self-efficient. You're giving them a tool that they can use later in life. So I thought, this recipe is screaming if you have a 5-year-old, they could do this. It has no sharp objects. It has, nothing that can hurt them. The only thing you would have to do for them is put it in the oven and maybe help keep them, on the narrow from being distracted. And that's okay if they do. Never force your kid to do something. Have them try it, but if, at that age, their attention span is like 3 minutes, so they'll wander off. But all the same, like, this would be a dish me and Abby could do. It doesn't have anything that could, it's easy. It's easy. It'll give them a sense of accomplishment and start hopefully that spark of creativity. Now, me and Abby do cook all the time now. Everybody in our house cooks a little, but this is a great place to start. So, Andes mint brownies. I don't remember where the recipe originated from, other than Rob sent it to me through Messenger, and I'm going to put it on Facebook today. That way, you guys can try it also. You'll have that standard recipe, plus I'll have it down in the description. Or you can just bake with me, which is always fun. That being said, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, thank you. If you are a new subscriber, which we get new subscribers all the time, and that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining our neighborhood, and spending time with me and the rest of the neighborhood. We're small, but we're mighty, and we're growing a little bigger every day, and that's awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. All those things put us out in YouTube's algorithm, which allows our community to grow. And that tells me that I'm doing something right, that you guys want to spend a little bit of time with me every week, and I don't take that for granted, by any means. Time is a valuable commodity that you can't get back, and the fact that you're willing to spend 20 to 45 minutes with me at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on your YouTube usage, is amazing. So anyhow, that being said, let's get down to the counter and we will go over things we will need. And like I said, there's not much there. There's no grams, there's no cups, there's no teaspoons or tablespoons. It's just a brownie mix that we're going to put together, and we're going to build a brownie. So let's get down to the counter and get started. I'll see you down there in just 1 second. Okay, so we're down here to the counter. And like I said, really easy. I'm using just a standard old brownie mix. This one just happens to be fudge, and the directions are already on the back, so all we have to do and I've never seen a brownie mix that didn't have pictures, or a cake mix for that matter. So that way, if you're with a young person, or even by yourself, boom, it's right there. In this case, we need the brownie mix, we need 3 tablespoons of water, a half a cup of vegetable oil, which that half a cup of vegetable oil Although if you buy a box mix, I'm sure depending on where you're at in the world, it'll be there. If you do need a brownie recipe though, per se, say you're somewhere that you can't get a brownie mix, I do have one, and I can put it either in the boxes here at the end of the video or a link for it down in the description. I'm starting to get really good at things like that. But it's a half a cup of vegetable oil, or 125 milliliters, and 2 large eggs, which is 100 grams. That's all you need. You know, that's pretty much it. You will need a couple bowls, you know, and in reality you probably don't even need 2 bowls, depending on how you make your brownie mix. And I've got a total of 1 package of Oreos, the Mint Oreos, and the recipe that I'll be posting calls for 2 boxes of Andy mints. There's 28 mints per thing. I personally thought that was a little mint heavy to begin with. I could be wrong, and I may be kicking myself in the butt later. So I only crushed up 1 package of Andy mints. Now, I mean, if I find out that it needs more, I always put more on it later. Even put them on cold and whole and make it look decorative. And I did not use a knife for any of this, so we don't need a knife, you know, if you're working with your, you know, young ones. That all I did was just break them up, you know, which could be fun. It's time for you to, you know, that gives you time to sit down with you and whoever, son, daughter, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and talk it over. Now, I will say these Andy mints, I forgot, even though they're very good, can be quite strong. So as I'm sitting there breaking them up, it's just clearing my sinuses, which was awesome. But that's really all you need. Oh, and you need a 9x9 pan right here. All right, so first steps. Just really easy. We're gonna turn our oven on, 350 degrees. Oven's on. I'm gonna double check, make sure I don't have anything in there, because I am synonymous for leaving stuff in the oven pan-wise. After we got that set, we'll need a medium-sized bowl. We're just gonna simply put our brownie mix in there, and we'll make our brownies up. Now, I have a second bowl because I do mine a little, I don't want to say different, but a little different. And you can, and I say this, this is true, you can literally just dump all 3 wet ingredients into your dry, mix it all up at once, but I don't. Used to, but I want to get those eggs smashed. And your eggs still, the rule doesn't change. You're gonna want your eggs to be at room temperature. But I'm gonna whisk those together. I'm gonna put my oil in. Yeah, my half a cup of oil, 200 or 125 milliliters. Give that a good stir. It just makes it easier in there. I ensure everything gets equally incorporated. And then I've got 3 tablespoons of water, which is 45 milliliters. And like I said, just if you have directions, just follow the directions on the back of the box. That's what I'm doing. Even the temperature to bake these at. Put that in there, give that a good stir. And then we're just gonna simply put this in our brownie mix, right? Just like that. And then I'm using a whisk. You don't have to. You can use a spoon, whatever it takes. And we'll just get this incorporated. Brownies, much like pancakes, you don't want it to be super smooth. It's okay to have small lumps in there. Not a problem. That actually adds to it. You over incorporate it, you no longer have brownies because you're putting air into it and making it smooth. You have a cake. So if you like that cakiness, actually if you like the cakiness, don't buy a fudge brownie mix. But if you like the cakiness, you can always add an extra egg and beat it and mix it a little longer. But when it comes to brownies, I personally and the rest of everybody else in my household loves a fudgy brownie. So, and that is one of the cool things about this recipe. You just need a brownie mix. What is your favorite brownie mix? That's the important thing. All right, so we got that mixed up just like such. And yep, we are good to go. Nothing dry. Oh, there's a little dry spot. You want to make sure you get those dry spots on the bottom. I mean, you don't want any big dry spots, but like the little chunks. I don't know if you can see that in there or not, but it's not perfectly smooth. I mean, it's got little lumps and bumps in it. Yeah, and that's, I don't want to say that's important, but it's kind of important. So we're going to set that aside. The next thing we're going to do is, I'm using a non-stick pan, so, and it's new, so I know it's not going to give me a whole lot of fits, but if you're using just a regular 9x9 pan, give it some butter, you know, or something of that nature. You spray coat it. Now with non-stick, don't use spray coat. That's a bad thing. What it does is, I don't know if you've ever seen, like maybe on some of your pans or somebody else's pans, it's got the little golden burnt look to it. That's usually from spray coating. Use butter, but I'm not gonna use anything because it's a newer, you know, non-stick. It doesn't have any scratches, any of that stuff yet. It's not, you know, it's at the beginning of its life. But I took Oreos, and in this case it was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 Oreos, and I put them on the bottom. I did 4 rows of 4 whole Oreos, and then I split some Oreos in half to get along the edges. Now if you're using an 8x8, which you could, if you look at the directions, I've never seen a brownie box that didn't have directions for a 9x13, a 9x9, and an 8x8. There are even some that have the rounds, but layered in the bottom. Next thing we're going to do, we're actually moving quicker than the oven can heat up, is we're going to pour our brownie mix over top of this as soon as I get my whisk out of there. And I'm not telling you that you should lick the bowl when you're done scraping it out because there's egg in it, and that's bad, but I have heard rumors of people licking the bowl, and once again, if that would be something that you did, per se, even though I'm not telling you to, you know, that'd be a good thing to sit down with a couple spatulas and you and your son or daughter could hang out and not eat some brownie batter and, you know, have a good talk. Ask them how they slept or how their day was, or, you know, what their plans are, or, you know, how was school that week. I mean, there's all kinds of things to talk about, hands down. I firmly believe, you know, even though I grew up in a generation where you kind of got kicked out the front door the second you got up, you know, that you should be involved in your kids' life. You know, maybe not best friend status, but, you know, you should see what's going on, get to know their friends, get to, you know, you keep knowing your children, so to speak. That way they know you're always there, even if, because as they get older, you become more in the background and less, you know, in the foreground of their life, but you're still there, you're still involved, you're still the one that they call, you know, just to talk, or, you know, just to talk with, you know, good times or bad. There you go, sorry, I got sidetracked by the brownie mix. Alright, so we got that on top, just like such. And then the next thing we're going to do, I know I got the Andes mints setting out, but I'm actually going to put those back in the fridge because they're not going to go on here right away. So we got our Oreos on the bottom, we've got our brownie mix on the top. We're going to take our, I took the rest of my package -6. Why do you say -6? Well, because when I got up this morning, 4 of them were gone, and I set 2 aside so I can share one with Abby when she gets up. But I'm going to take the rest of the Oreos I had left, the rest of the package, and I broke them up, you know, just crushed up. Now how fine you want them is completely up to you. You can take a knife to them if you want. You can throw them in a bag and beat them with a hammer or a rolling pin or whatever it is you want to do. I thought, you know, the nice chunks, I broke them into, you know, 6, 7 pieces, whatever fell apart, and thought, okay, that'll work. And I'm gonna put these on top, just like such. And if you don't use them all, that's okay. You know, you can sit here and snack on them while you're waiting on this thing to bake. Oh, we're almost there. We're about 75 degrees more. Now, when it comes to baking this, I'm not gonna put it in the oven yet because it's not ready, but we can talk about it all the same, and then I'll just get it in the oven off camera. We're going to simply put this in the oven, and I'm going to follow the baker's the directions on the box. And in my case, which this is pretty standard really, I've noticed when you buy mixes. Even with like cakes, it'll give you the one for the 9-inch cupcakes, the 8-inch, so on and so forth, 9 by 13. The time to bake them is pretty much all the same along with the temperature. Very rarely does that deviate, especially when it comes to baking. So we're gonna be at 350, and I'm gonna put these in for 35 minutes, I believe it is. Well, it's gonna go in, for 33 to 35 minutes. Even though the back of my box says 36 to 38, but if you read, it says for non-stick pans, I want to shorten the time by 3 minutes. So I'll start them at 33 minutes and I'll check them. Even though we're doing a fudgier brownie, if I remember right, it should still come out as a clean toothpick, right? And then once they come out of the oven, I'll come back and we're going to talk about what we're going to do next. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. Okay, we just let the brownies bake. I did mine for 35 minutes, and I toothpick tested them. Now, I didn't think about this when I said it with the toothpick test. It will depend on the type of brownies you're making. Like mine still have a little moisture on them. That's okay. They still taste delicious, but I'm also making fudgy brownies, so they're gonna have a little bit, that's part of being fudgy on them. Plus, we're about to put these back in the oven for 2 minutes. So the next thing we're gonna do, well, first I should tell you I screwed up. The Oreos on the top, they shouldn't have gone on until after the fact, but I don't think it's gonna change anything because they're still there. The most we're gonna get out of it is, I don't know, because they're still crunchy. And I think that's what we were going for, was to keep the crunch. So, but anyhow, we are going to take our Andy's mints. I digress. It's not going to hurt anything. It's still going to taste delicious, I believe. And we're going to put these on top. We're on a nice even coat. And this is why I said, you can run with 2 boxes of Andy mints, a total of 56 of these bad boys. But I think that's just making it a little heavy on the Andy Mint side, even though they're Andy Mint brownies. That being said, to each their own. We are only going to put 1 box on there, though. 28 individually broke up, like I said earlier, mints, and I'm going to put this back in the oven for another 2 minutes. That's going to melt these mints onto the top and give it a nice chocolatey, minty top also. So let me get that in the oven, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, so we just pulled them out of the oven. I gotta turn the oven off. Now, what are we gonna do next? We're gonna let these cool, but I want to show them to you real quick because they look just crazy good. Here, I'll bring the camera down a little bit, bring them to you. Oop, right there. All right, but there are our brownies, my friends. They look delicious. My house smells amazingly good, and I'm not hating on it. Not by any means. It's been a long time since I've had mint, anything really, and I'm kind of excited to try these. So we've got our nice little bit of Andy's mints melted on top of there, and we've got our Oreos and our brownie, but all we gotta do is let it cool down enough, because right now we try to eat this, we'll melt our face, and we don't want to melt our face, we just want to eat a good brownie. So when I come back, these will be cool and we can cut into them and try one. All right, I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so we let everything cool down to room temp. Well, it's still just a touch warm on the bottom, but not so much I can't handle it. And that's important. So now, the only thing left to do is, I'll give you another look at those real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Straighten her up. There we go. And now, all we really have left to do is cut us a piece. So we'll go ahead and cut us a decent piece, not a huge piece. So there reckons a question. If you are a brownie person, which I don't know anybody out there that isn't, when you cut your brownies, do you cut a giant piece, or do you cut like a manageable bite-sized piece? Look at that. Boom. That is tremendously cool. It came out in one fell swoop. Oh, I left an Oreo behind. No Oreo left behind. All right, there is that. Set that right there. And there, my friends, is our Oreo brownie. Of course, it's a corner piece, so you're only going to get to see, the two sides of the crust, because the other two sides look like that from where it was on the edge of the pan, but that's all right. So I think we should give this a try. I can tell you, after getting a little bit of the chocolate on my fingers, that the chocolate tastes fantastic. As I figured it would. I mean, it's Andes Mints. You can't really go wrong with this recipe. I mean, it's Andes Mints, or if you don't have Andes Mints in your area per se, as you may not, depending on where you're at. It's so wild to think that anybody in the world can watch this. It doesn't matter where you are. So you may not have Andes Mints, or but a chocolate mint, that like an after dinner mint, perfect. Any type of mint Oreo or something of that nature, no matter the brand, although I'm sure Oreo is pretty much everywhere in the civilized world, but you never know. Or whatever is relevant to where you're at. I mean, you can't go wrong, really. And a pre-made brownie mix, they've been a staple since, I don't know, forever. Since I was a kid, and that was like a million years ago. So anyhow, enough talk. Let's give Rob an answer on whether or not these are any good or not. Those are good. The Oreos still have a good crunch to them. I don't know personally. Now, I don't like I don't like anything really to be truly overbearing. So, and like I said a few minutes ago, I only put one package of Andes Mints on here, instead of two like the recipe called for. And I think that gives it a great balance. Between the chocolate of the brownie, the cookie of the Oreo, and the mint. It is by no means overbearing. Now, I know I've known a few people that have made chocolate chip cookies with Andes Mints in them, and they're good, but I think the mint to chocolate chip cookie ratio can be overbearing if not done properly. So my recommendation, my thought on this is only use one box of Andes Mints. That being said, that is a wonderful treat. I'm not hating that at all. And like I said, there are so many variations you could do with this. Well, there's a few at any rate, because like I used a fudge brownie. You could just as easily use a standard cake brownie. You could use a milk chocolate brownie, a dark chocolate brownie. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Your own family recipe, whatever. You could even change it up. Let's say you don't want mint. You could do a different Oreo. You could do a different type of chocolate bar. You could throw a Heath bar on there, or a Crunch bar, or whatever, broken up. Brownies are an amazing creature, really. As far as this one goes, this is solid, Rob. I think if you make this for whatever it is that you're attending, or for your family or whatever, I think they'll enjoy this. Like I said though, my only thought is one package of Andes Mints, not two. Only because I like mint, but I like it to be balanced with everything else. I don't think it should be a dominant trait in anything unless it's a mint candy. So, that being said, give this a try. If you do give this a try, or you've tried it before, or you have a recipe similar to it, let me know down in the comments below. Rob is really curious, so he's going to be looking to see what you guys think also. He doesn't only value my opinion, but he values opinions of lots of other people, and he wants to know what your guys' thoughts are also. So make sure you leave a comment down below, or you can jump on our Facebook group at Mr. Smith's Kitchen and leave a comment there. I'll have this posted probably not this evening, but tomorrow. And you can leave a comment with it. That gives you a day to try it. It's not even an expensive meal, or expensive, well, it could be a meal, an expensive dessert to make. You know, if you buy a brownie mix, what is it, $1.50 I think I paid for it. The Oreos were $4 and change, you know, at least here in Ohio. And the Andes mints were like $2. So for less than $10, you've got a really good, you know, brownie that you can, I mean, you can cut that easily into 12 to 16 pieces, and then you've got, you know, something to snack on, something to go with, or you can cut it into 4 big squares, or 6 or 8, or whatever you like to do. You know, depending on you. Like I said, the question earlier, how do you eat your brownies? Do you cut big pieces, little pieces, snack size pieces? You know, how do you and your family do it? But either way it goes, give this a try, and let us both know what you think, because I think it's good. I think it's a solid little, you know, quick, easy, you know, oh, and the recipe came from the novice baker, and that, you know, that's, I'm new to baking. I'm a novice. I'm not an expert. Kind of like us, right? Or at least me. I'm sure you're a professional, but let us know either way. Next week, I have no clue, as always. But we're going to cook something. Baking wise, I really want to do this butter cake. Hold on for me 1 second. Sorry about that. I can feel my nose just running to beat the banshee. I'm still got a cold. We went from COVID to sinus issues to colds. But anyhow, I digress. Next week, no idea what we're doing for dinner. But for dessert, I really, really, really want to try this butter cake that Chris found a recipe for. And she really, really, really wants me to try this butter cake that she found a recipe for. And it looks good. I'm just still trying to find a pan. Yeah, and if I don't find one here the next day or so, in either the Newark area or the Columbus area, because I work in the Columbus Westerville area. I live in the Newark area, and there's a few spots in between that I drive through. I'm just gonna go ahead and order one on Amazon. I wanted to do it last week, but with everybody being really sick and me not being able to get off the couch much, that just didn't happen. So we're gonna shoot for next week. If not, we still have the pecan upside down bundt cake, and I'm sure there are 1,000 other things that I want to try. But that being said, until next week, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. It's gonna make them feel a whole lot better. It's gonna make you feel better to tell them. And if you do make some of these Andy Mint brownies, you're gonna have a friend for life, you know. And it's a good conversation piece to start with. You know, it could lead into so much more. You know, take them to a neighbor. You know, hey, St. Patrick's Day party, just right around the corner. You know, matter of fact, tomorrow, if I remember right, yes, tomorrow. So you can whip these up first thing in the morning, take them to the party, if you catch this video in time. If not, it's all right, just make them for a friend. So until next week, I love you, and I'll see you then. Talk to you later. Bye.